there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Kit Conspiracy, where we are using a pirate-themed collection from Cartabella. It is also the Iron Crafter Challenge, which means we are using Nuvo Drops or Stickles or Pops of Color, any of those types of items. So I will be using some older Nuvo Drops. I have had them for, I'm going to say probably a decade. And they're still good, so yay for that. But I'm going through my papers here trying to figure out which ones I want to use, much like I did on Wednesday's video. If you watched that, I'm just got the pile of papers and the photos on top and am flipping through to see which ones I think make the photos pop the best. So I am going to be using a variety of papers, actually. I'm going to use these this paper with the Pirate Island on it and the ships and all of that, but I'm going to be cutting all of my papers up and making several layers. I will be doing some mixed media on some white close to my heart daisy paper. I still have a bit of that left from before they went out of business, so that's what I'm going to be using today. And then I'm going to break my photos into two different clusters or sections. So the bottom photos don't necessarily represent all of the top photos. They are just photos of some of the things at the pirate exhibit and then some of the placards that we saw talking about pirate life and such. And so that is what I'm going to be documenting today. But I do know, excuse me, that I want to layer up my papers so that I have a good representation of color and to give it a lot of, I guess, oomph is the right word, I don't know, a lot of pop. So my mixed media portion is going to be, excuse me, under my title area instead of under my photos. My photos are just going to be paper layers, and I definitely want to have some color differentiation between my layers. So you can see here I've cut up that map type paper, or not map, it's not a map, the dark paper to put between my other layers to give them some yeah, to give them some just some pop, basically. Yeah, we need a lot of that in our lives, right? I don't want them to blend in too much, and I didn't ink up any of my papers because I'm going to use my distress tool from MK's shop. It's the Edge Distressor, and it works so wonderfully, especially on these really thick papers. So I'm going to do that instead of doing any inking or anything like that. So that's why I decided to go with the papers in different different color values so that you can see a really good pop between them. And with me distressing the edges, this paper does have like a white core to it, so it's going to bring out that white core, which is fine. It's also going to help everything kind of pop also. So I don't know how many times I can say pop, but yeah, maybe we should start counting. I did use my little mini desktop vacuum to suck up all of the paper dandruff that I am creating by distressing all of the edges. You can see it right on top of that paper that's got the moon on it. It's quite a bit, and my little vacuum is a really inexpensive, under $15. I just got it on Amazon. I didn't just get it. I've had it for a while, but I got it on Amazon, and it works great. It keeps me from having to sweep up the floor quite as often. I still have to sweep up the floor or vacuum the floor because of Coda glitter or Coda hair, if you will, but now not so much, just because of this little vacuum cleaning up all that dander for me. So here we go. I've got my 4 layers of paper. The pirate head or Jolly Roger guy is going to be the bottom one. It's going to span all the way across my layout, so that's going to be the full 12 inches. but the other papers are going to be stacked up here, and I really like the way that they look. It gives it a nice look, but it also gives me a section in between the two for my mixed media. So that's what I'm going to start working on in just a moment here. And I'm just marking off where my photos go so I don't waste product or time doing mixed media where the stencils or doing stencil work underneath where the photos are going to be, because it would be kind of a waste. Now I've got a gray color here. It's a very light gray and a light brown, or a brown color. I don't know the names of them off the top of my head, or if they're even still available, but if they are, I will link them down below. I've also got a couple of stencils. One is the one that I'm currently using is from All and Create. If that's available, I'll link it down below also. But the brickwork one is actually from one of MK's embellishment boxes that she did a while back. So it is no longer available, but I will, I apologize for that, but there are a lot of brick stencils out there on the market that you could do. They're just not this, they usually come like as a 6x6 or something like that. They don't have the softer edges to it, so you just have to use something, the center part of it. So I'm starting with the gray, putting the gray down, and then adding a little brown over top just to give a little bit of color to it. And it looks kind of boring right now, in my opinion, but I did set it aside to dry. And I'm going to be adding some Paper Artsy infusion powder to it to give it more color. I am also going into my stash of Nuvo Drops and pulling out a white one here, and I am just pouncing some of that on to this chipboard from Dusty Attic to color up these skull and crossbones, and that's going to give them a little bit of pop. They don't go super white. If I wanted them super white, I probably could have put some gesso or white paint underneath them, but I didn't do that, and I'm okay with that. I mean, old skull and crossbones probably aren't white anyway. They're probably more yellow than what I've got, but that's okay. This is Paper Artsy infusion powder, and the color is called In the Navy. So that is what I'm using there. It's very similar to the Lindy's Magicals, if you're familiar with those, but these also have a walnut ink crystal in them. So there is a brown crystal that blooms the longer you let it sit there wet. So I'm okay with that because, you know, this is kind of a grungy bit of a layout, and that's okay. But I definitely wanted to get a little bit more color on there than what I had, so I'm just going in with a couple of different passes. And my paper is very wet at this point. I did actually wet down most of my paper before I was all done, because that center section was so wet, I didn't want it to dry super warped. And I find that if you wet the rest of the paper, it all kind of dries more at the same speed, and it reduces the warping. I don't know if that's a true fact or if it's just my theory, but it seems to work, and so that's kind of what I did. I pulled out some dies. I want to say these are from Paper Rose. I cannot be sure off the top of my head, but I will put a link down below if they are available. They are a really good size. They're at least 2 inches. And I thought I was going to do I am cutting the word Pirate Life. I don't end up using the eyes because I'm going to swap those out for some swords that are on the Dusty Attic chipboard piece that we have in our kit. And so I will be using some different mixed media to alter the swords to create the letter I for Pirate and Life. But I went ahead and cut the eyes before I realized I could do that, and I had that option. But yeah, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I did pop these all up onto some foam. These really thick letters make it really easy to pop up onto foam. Now I could have cut them with the foam underneath them to make them more like a thicker, but I did not do that. And I don't really have a reason why I didn't do it. I probably just didn't think about it until after the fact, because normally that is something that I would have done. I would have put the foam down first before cutting them in the machine. But yeah, I didn't do that. And so this time we just got some foam added after the fact. I am going to use that cannon. I've got the skull and crossbones both where I think I want them. I'm going to add these cannonballs because I've got that cannon on there, so I thought the cannonballs would work well. I've pulled out some black Nuvo Drops to do the actual cannonballs. It's kind of like a charcoal kind of black. And then I am going to add, I don't remember what color I add to the actual part that you light on fire, which I cannot think of the name of on the top of my head right now. But you know, you know what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to add a little bit of red to the fuse. I guess it's called a fuse, right? I don't know. I don't know if that's what it's called in a cannon. I'm not super well versed in old-fashioned military knowledge. So, or yeah, I don't know. So it looks like I'm using some more of that gray to do the fuse portion of it, and then I'm going to add a little bit of red to the very tip, like it's been lit on fire, just to make it pop a little bit more. The way that I'm using these Nuvo Drops is I'm just popping the top off of them and then squirting them out of the neck of the bottle, which seems to work better because, you know, I've had them for so long. It is a little thicker in the neck, so it doesn't want to come out. So I'd have to open it up anyway to kind of like stir all of that back in to thin it out a little bit. It's not solid. You can definitely use what's in the neck of it, but it is definitely a little thicker than what is in the main portion of the bottle. So now I'm just using some silver paint to do the swords and some gold Liquitex acrylic ink to do the hilt of the sword, and I think that's going to work really well. I also decided to use some of this acrylic ink on my letters because in person they look like they were a little bit lost with all of that background work, but on this camera overhead view they don't look lost. So I decided to go ahead and give them a little bit of gold, which on camera makes them look a little bit more lost than they were, but I promise in real life it doesn't look lost. I'm also going to go all the way around the outside edge with a black Sharpie just to kind of make them a little bit more bold. And the reason I use the Sharpie, I don't know. I could probably because I could get into all of the little inside pieces rather than just inking up the outside with like my distress ink or something like that. The Sharpie allows me to get to like the center of the A and the R and whatnot, and that's going to help it pop a little bit more. I did give you a good view of these in the close-ups at the end of the video so that you can go and check that out, just to so you can see the letters a little bit better. And I really like how they turned out. I think they turned out fantastic. They look a little grungy but a little bit golden and a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, I guess. While I go ahead and do that, don't forget to check out MK's channel for starters, see what she's doing for Kit Conspiracy today. And don't forget to go and check out everyone who's playing along with the Iron Crafter Challenge, which again is Nuvo Drops and similar products to Nuvo Drops. So you're going to get quite a few people that are playing along with that, so you'll get lots of different ways hopefully to use them rather than just using them as the Nuvo Drops are intended to be used. But my favorite way to use them is on chipboard and through a stencil, so that's what I did today. I am having to dry my paper just a little bit more to finish everything off, but I'm going to start gluing everything down with some liquid glue to make sure it all stays in place. And I actually should remind you to check out Tara's channel also. She will be in the link list for the Iron Crafter, but go give her a little extra love. You can check out her Facebook group, The Paper Snob, and it is linked down below also, and she is the host of the Iron Crafter Challenge. She hosts quite a few challenges every month, and I've really enjoyed playing along with her and everyone else who participates in those challenges, so that's a lot of fun. Again, all the links down below, as well as product links. If they're available, I will link them down below. And if there's something that you're interested in that I did not link, you can always drop a message in the comments down below, and I will try to kind of figure out a good similar item. Or there is also a possibility that I just forgot to link it because sometimes that happens as well. Um, so my apologies for that. Okay, so I've got all of my title down there. I'm liking how that's looking. I am using my acrylic blocks to hold everything in place because I want to make sure everything makes good contact with that mixed media in the background. I think that's going to really just help it to adhere very well, because the Nuvo Drops are not porous at this point. This glue sets up really fast when the item is porous, or the two pieces are porous, but when they are not, it doesn't set up quite as quickly. So I did leave it there for a little bit to dry. That is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have questions or comments, leave them down below. As always, I will get back to you as quickly as I can. I do appreciate you guys taking the time to spend with me today, and I hope that you are still enjoying this series. I will be back again on Sunday with another pirate themed series or layout for you. And just a spoiler alert, it's a double pager, so you're going to want to come and check that out. And I will see you then. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.